What's up, everybody? This is Peter Schrager from Good Morning Football and The Season with Peter Schrager. And guess what? It's football season. And you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, can't get a running back delivered, but you can get baby back ribs delivered. Strong defense? Like, no. But a strong deodorant? Yes. A six-pack of abs? That's absolutely not. No. But a six-pack of beer? Uber Eats can get you that. There you have it. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats. It's the official on-demand delivery partner for the NFL. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See that app for details.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.
It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant Prime.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Hello, everybody, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live on the Giants app, Giants.com. It's all brought to you by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. I am John Schmeelk. Madeline Berg, a little bit under the weather today. I'm stepping in for her, and I get to deal with the big man, Howard Cross.
Not as cute, I must say.
I'm hurt.
Not really. You're all right, man. You know.
I'm freshly shaved today. I don't have any stubble.
I got a lot of stubble.
I have my fancy hoodie. Mm-hmm. You know, I think I'm doing okay. I'm going to be honest with you. No, yeah. No, I'm not. We're going to try to get a lot of your calls today, folks. So get on the line, 201-939-4513. We're kind of in no man's land here, Howard. We're like 5 days after the Giants' last game, or I guess 4 days, but we're 5 days before the next game coming up on Sunday. So we're kind of in no man's land here. So where do you sit right now, kind of through 4 games as we kind of take stock of the Giants a quarter of the way through the season?
Well, I sit in a spot where we're a little bit confused because we've had some great opportunities we didn't take advantage of. And it, you know, it's kind of one of those things where you're a little bit frustrated and you're not really sure, you know, what to feel and everything. The offense is progressively getting better and better, but the untimely mistakes have dropped balls here and there. Daniel's looking stronger and stronger, although I will keep an eye on him. I'll tell people all the time, he is still not a year out of that surgery just for his knee. That still worries me to death when he's running and doing all this stuff. But hopefully, you know, he continues to hang in there. He's a tough guy. The defense, kind of a mixed bag there. I mean, sometimes they're playing extraordinarily well. We know that when we get faced with some of the top receivers in the league, we're going to have, you know, if there's more than one guy out there, we're going to have a little bit of a problem. The pass rush has been good, and then it's been silent. Then it's been good, then it's been silent. That
goes back to the inconsistency you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
no, I'm with you.
We got to find a way to get some of that in. We've had a couple blunders on special teams that lost our kicker up right off the bat, first play of the game. Then after that, you know, it's starting to, like I said, you can see enough positive things to think that, hey, there are going to be some teams and some games that we're going to sneak up on some guys and get them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's up yet, but I recorded a Giants podcast with Banks a little bit earlier today, and the way I kind of put it to him, I'm not sure if it's up yet. It should be shortly if it's not. Is it up, Dom? It is? Perfect. So the kind of way I put it to him, Howard, was the Giants are 1-3. It's the same record as last year. But and look, there are no moral victories here. 1-3 is 1-3, zero. But the 1-3 does feel a little bit different as you watch it. Like heading into Week 5 last year against the Dolphins, at 1-3 with the way the team look, all of us knew that was going to be a rough game. I think you feel a little bit better about the way they've competed and the way they've kept game close through 4 games this year at 1-3 than you did at 1-3 4 games last year.
Absolutely. I think, you know, like the addition of Malik Neighbors and the other rookies on the team, especially on the defensive side of the ball, has made a big impact all the way around. I think, you know, you're looking at Neighbors kind of leading all rookie receivers, being kind of that spark plug that really starts to ignite everything is really, really cool. Wanting somebody else to, you know, kind of, you know, take the reins. I know we have Robinson has been doing a little bit of that, but just wanting a couple more guys to take the reins and make the step up. So when it's time, to go, I think they'll be like really ready to go. The thing that I noticed, like in games, like it's interesting to watch the receivers. When Daniel breaks the pocket, some of them stop because they think he's going to run, and I'm like, you just got to keep moving, get across the field, get in his face, get where you can see him.
And I do think he's done a better job throwing on the run this year than he has in other years when he has been more kind of run first.
Well, I think again, he's less than 12 months out.
Sure. Absolutely.
So I think he has only a few runs in him per game, and I think that's the biggest cause of that.
What do you think of the offensive line's play so far this year?
Compared to years in the past, they would be like the 5 Pro Bowlers. I mean, it's just like,
well, I would say in pass pro specifically.
Yeah, very, 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 very much so. I think pass pro, they've done a great job. They're picking up all the twists. They're picking up some of the stunts. They're also picking up some of the blitzes that are coming in. And the quarterbacks are not under siege every play. You can tell in the pass game and in the run game, even though we didn't like we got a lot done in the run game, the guys weren't getting tackled in the backfield. They may be getting tackled for 1 yard or 0 yards, but they weren't getting tackled in the backfield.
That's a good point.
And they weren't losing yards on plays. So that's the one thing where we can always grow as a team. I think the tight ends are getting better and better. And I think a lot of it is, when you see these yardages that they're getting, especially in the last game, it wasn't that they weren't running the ball well. It was just like every time they had a big run, there'd be a big penalty. And some of the penalties, suspect, to say the least. I got a bunch of buddies that are refs, but man, we had a face mask where the other player was face masking us. We've had a holding call when the player was driving somebody into the ground.
Both were on Bellinger, believe it or not.
You can't really hold somebody when you're knocking them down. So like hold him up to make sure he doesn't fall. I don't know how they're looking at it. There was no pull of the jersey on either one of those, and it's just the untimely penalty like that has really pulled back some plays that weren't really like 20 plus yard runs.
All right, last thing I'll ask you before we get to the calls. We got people calling in here. If there are 1, 2, or 3 things, you can list as many as you want, that you think this team needs to improve upon in order to start turning these close losses into wins, what would they be for you?
The simple thing is this. I like the receivers. I think they have to be and they're great. They're getting a lot of targets, but they're going to have to be a little bit more consistent. And that's just it.
Catching the football you're talking about.
Yeah, be a little bit more consistent. Guys are getting open. You got to be a little bit more consistent. In the running game, we're going to have to find somebody. I mean, and Singletary's great, by the way, but you to start that first down and 10 should be second down and 4. If you can get it, second down and 6. If you can get it, we got to get better production out of our run game, especially on first downs. And
then real quickly, Seahawks next week. We saw them play last night, national TV. High-scoring affair. The Seahawks offense looks very impressive. Geno's playing great. Kenneth Walker had some really nice runs in that game. Their wide receivers, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, we know about. Tyler Lockett, they're good. Defensively, another story. Jared Goff still hasn't thrown an incomplete pass. He's 18 for 18, and this isn't like for 150 yards either. He almost got the 3 Bills in the game. They could not stop the Lions offense. Lions ran on them too. And a lot of that, quite frankly, Howard, had to do with the injuries on defense. Their best edge rusher, Boyamafe, out. Their 2 best defensive tackles, Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams, both missed the game. One of their starting linebackers, Jerome Baker, missed the game. Their other edge rusher, Uchenna Nwosu, missed the game. So we'll see. It's only another 6 days because it's a short week because Monday into Sunday. We'll see whether or not these guys can make it back for the game on Sunday against the Giants. But if they don't, I think the Giants' offense should have some opportunities here, given how banged up that Seahawks defense is.
The interior run game should pick up for us a little bit. I think the edges are still a little tight, but the interior run game should pick up for us a little bit. Without those 2 guys in the middle, it looks a little clear. The picture looks a little clear, and I think we can get the ball moved upfield pretty easily.
And again, we said that last week against the Cowboys' run defense too, and that didn't work too well.
Well, that was different. I think that the Dallas run defense became something that I hadn't seen out of them in a while. They had 8 guys at the line of scrimmage, or sometimes almost 9, and you got to be able to throw the ball in those cases and stretch the field, and that's what we kind of wound up doing. But the thing that was really impressive, the coach didn't go away from the run. He just kept putting it in there, even though they were like right on top of him.
And the one place where I think the Seahawks offense has struggled a little bit, Howard, has been on the offensive line. Stone Forsythe at right tackle has not played that well this year. Charles Cross on the left side has been okay. But even their interior guys, they've struggled a little bit inside, to be totally honest with you. So Laken Tomlinson, who's a veteran in this league for a long time, Anthony Bradford at guard, those are their two interior guys that have had some struggles this year. So I think you might be able to get some pass rush, specifically off right tackle and on the interior in this game. And you got to, and look, Gino's gotten better at navigating through pressure and throwing on the move and throwing under pressure. But if you're going to slow that Seahawks offense down, I think that's how you're going to have to do it.
Well, we hope that we can get pressure on the quarterback. Pressure on the quarterback has to be kind of like week to week. Again, don't know why or what happens, but if we can get those guys just to come off the edge and just to push them up into Dexter, it's going to be a good day. We got to get somebody that's consistently running. Nacho's been playing pretty good, but consistently getting pressure besides Dex, that will help.
All right, 201-939-4513. I mentioned the Giants Huddle podcast, most recent episode. We had Papa's perspective call up yesterday. He talked to Brent Musburger, who covered the Giants' 86 Super Bowl 21 victory.
Pretty good.
So he has some really nice stories in there with Bob Papa, some that he's never told before, some really interesting stuff. And we have other really nice Papa's perspectives coming down the line of guys that called all the Giants' big games in Super Bowl. So
that's nice.
It should be fun. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, we already have those done. Al Michaels, that's already done as well.
Yeah.
We're still working on Chris Collinsworth, but we have a lot of good stuff coming down the pike here as we look back at some of the great moments in Giants history as we celebrate the Giants 100. And then the most recent episode that just went up should be up there. If not, it will be shortly. I talked to Carl Banks for about 20 minutes about the Giants at the quarter season mark, kind of see where we're at. So check that out on the Giants Huddle podcast. Giants app, giants.com/podcast. Just search for Giants Huddle or search for Giants Podcast Network. That is the name of the feed now, though it's the same old Giants Huddle feed. All right, 201-939-4513. DJ in Virginia will lead us off today. DJ.
How we doing, DJ?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
We're good.
We're good.
Hey, all right. I appreciate the show, man. Appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you for listening.
All right, so I got two questions. One is about Daboll and the play calling in last week's game against Dallas. So my issue with it is I understand Daboll is a good play caller and I understand all that stuff, but I kind of was like looking back at the game and I'm kind of like wondering if I feel like he kind of played into Dallas's strength a little bit. Like I understand, hey, you want to get the ball out fast and you want to get it in your playmakers' hands. You want to kind of avoid the pass rush of Dallas just because they're kind of fast. But when you look at some of the plays, like Overshawn was covering Malik on a whip route. And, you know what I mean, he's a fast linebacker. So I'm wondering why we didn't go with, like, a more heavy personnel, run the ball. Dallas's, weakness was their run defense. Am I not correct on that?
No, I mean, I think the Giants they ran it 24 times.
24 times, they averaged 26 yards.
They averaged 1 yard per carry. And I think, and honestly, look, they tried to keep going back to it. Howard mentioned this earlier in the show, but eventually you get to the point and you're down, a score or two late and you're still averaging 1 yard per carry. Their longest run of the yard was 5 yards.
Yeah,
they never had to run more than 5 yards. It's not like they were even popping one here or there. It was just consistently, 2 yards, 1 yard, 0 yards.
And on top of that, we got a couple of bad holding calls and stuff in those situations too, which brought plays back. So that, that's tough.
Yeah, I think they tried to run it. I think they made an honest effort to try to run it, and they just were not able. The offensive line, and Brian Daboll said this in the postgame press conference. He said it on the TV show that's going to air on MSG this weekend, or on NBC, sorry, the Coach Daboll show. And he just said, look, we have to execute better, and that tells me it's an offensive line deal blocking up the run game.
And I think also when you think about the passing game, I think that they had some good passes down the field. We had 4 major drops that really cost, major field position. Would have been in the red zone a couple times.
And the first half, you had the underthrows on the deep balls.
Yeah, so it just that's part of it.
Right, I understand that. And my other question was about the defense, and I have one real hang-up with the defense and, Tate Banks and a couple of the cornerbacks. Like, I understand Tate Banks is a good corner. Like, he's in position a lot of the times, but I just wish he would get his head around. Like, if I'm a quarterback, like, if my biggest thing is he's going to knock the ball down, what's to keep me from throwing to his side if he's just going to bat the ball down? Like, There's really no real thing that's gonna to cheer me from throwing the ball to his side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but,
he's got to make people pay for throwing to his side. He's got to start intercepting some balls.
Well, one thing is that I can tell you is when you're playing against some of the number one receivers in the league, you're going to have a hard time. Like, some guys don't show their hands for very, very late. Like when the ball's coming down.
Amari Cooper did a nice job of that in the Brown game.
Roll Tide.
We can talk about that too, by the way. That was a hell of a game Saturday night.
You're going to see, because Banks is going to go to the best receiver. Those guys are going to hold their hands as long as they can before they reach for the ball. And then when he reaches for the ball, that's when he has to turn. And he's going to be watching their eyes, see if their eyes gets big and all this other crazy stuff that I don't do or don't understand because I'm not a DB. But all the things I hear about he's trying to do. But some of the best receivers in the league, he's going to play them. He's played Jefferson already. He's going to play. He did pretty good against McLaren. Amari Cooper, great receiver. This past weekend, you're playing against some good guys. And I know he's our number one guy. But, depending on if he's one-on-one out there playing man-to-man or zone, it's just a little bit harder than people think to play that spot. And even though he's the number one, he's not the greatest corner in the world. He's a really good corner, but he's not the greatest corner.
Yeah, and DJ, look, he has to finish plays better because he's usually in phase. Now, I think last week against Lamb, he let Lamb get a couple steps past him on the sideline there. He could have been a little stickier there.
Well,
but if you look at the plays that Cooper made...
But the safety's supposed to come over the top.
Correct. The safety is supposed to come over the top. He took a terrible angle, turned into a big play. No question about it.
Yep.
But against Cooper, Amari Cooper was not creating separation against Deontay Banks. He was on top of him, but he wasn't, to your point, DJ. And I think Howard's right. Sometimes it's tough. The receiver doesn't give you a hint as to when the ball's coming. But he has to figure out a way to break up those passes, whether he's getting his head around and knocking it away, or if he's just playing his hand through the receiver's hand to knock the ball out. However he's got to do it, DJ, you're right, because he's in phase, he's in position to make plays for the most part, but he is not finishing those. And even if it's not a pick, to your point, appreciate the call. Bring Prod down there, Dom. That's what that is. Thank you. Even if he's not even if he's not picking it off, at least be in position to knock the ball away, because you're allowing way too many passes to be completed when you're there to make the play and you're just not finishing it.
Well, again, guys, I get that, but when the ball's coming right over your shoulder and they don't give you anything, and you think that you're I got this guy covered. I am in his pocket. Ball comes up, drops over your shoulder. Some quarterbacks are dropping some dimes.
No, it's tough. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Not at all.
It's not easy. All right, and look, the wide receivers are the best, I still think edge rushers are the best athletes on the field, but I think his combination size and speed and all that stuff.
Yep.
But the wide receivers, the fastest and the most coordinated, gifted players that are in the game. So it's tough. It's playing cornerback is probably, aside from maybe offensive tackle, is the toughest position to play in the sport, and quarterback obviously. Yeah. But it's not easy.
It's definitely cornerback.
You think so? Even tougher than an offensive tackle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you're playing corner, most of what's happening, kind of like the tackle, but most of what's happening is happening behind you. When you got your back to the guy, you don't know what's going on. If you're playing him in a zone, there could be 2 or 3 guys in your zone flooding you out. It's hard, and there's a lot of space out there.
No, I buy it. Ralph in Florida, he's up next. Hey, Ralph.
Guys, nice talking to you guys. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. Howard, always appreciate you being a legend of the Giants. Congratulations on making the top 100. You deserved it.
Thank you very much.
And listen, my question, I love Malik Neighbors, don't get me wrong. I think he's an incredible talent. I'm glad he's on this team. But there's some things that you got to nitpick on him, and I'm not just talking about the drops. John, I know you watched the game over. I don't know if you watched it, but on that wheel route to Wandale Robinson, if he runs his route and runs it at Overshown has to go around him. Wandale walks into the end zone.
Yeah, Neighbors ran his route. He was a little bit too shallow when he stopped, and he gave Overshown too good of a route. Yep.
But he didn't. It's not that he was shallow. He just walked. He literally walked up the field. He didn't run at Overshown. If you run at Overshown, now Overshown, and then stop, then Overshown has to make a decision. Do I go under? Do I go over? But he just walked up the field. That's huge. And as far as Daniel Jones on the deep throws, to me, like you said, John, in week 2, he was overthrowing the ball. In week 3, he was overthrowing the ball. Now he's aiming, and you can't do that as a quarterback. And I think Daniel Jones is a really good quarterback. I think he can't get the job done. I think he gets way too much blame for what's going on with the team, and it's not fair to him. And, it is what it is. He makes the money, so I guess he has to have big shoulders to accept it.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's can't have as a quarterback is aim. You just got to have trust. Throw it up there and let your player make a play. Now, when he throws it, the receivers got to make plays too. You got to catch the ball. I mean, that throw to Neighbors, I don't know anybody in the league besides Mahomes that can go to his left and throw a bullet like that.
It was a hell of a throw.
Right on
It was that Ralph. You were right. He has not gotten enough credit for what. And look, people. Oh well, he had Singletary open. Well, Singletary's coming behind him. You're rolling left. You can't turn your shoulders all the way around. It's very hard to see him on that play.
Never throw across your body.
No, that was a Howard. You can speak to it. That's a really difficult throw. In fact, he was running in your direction on that play, right?
Snapped it off. It was perfect. It hit him right in the hands. Gotta have it. Another thing, when we talk about the deep throws, and I said this on the air, and I think I said maybe off the air, when the receiver is running down the field and he's looking back and the DB's running with him step for step and the ball's coming at the receiver's back, the DB's back, the receiver usually jumps and the DB runs into him and is passing interference.
Yes,
and that's like our guys haven't done that as much. We've seen guys like try to get down underneath and catch the ball, but if they jump back into the guy, reaching for the ball.
Great question. How many defensive pass interferences have Giants receivers drawn this year, Howard? That is a really good question.
I don't know.
I'm going to see if I can look that up. I'm not sure about that. That's a great question.
You got to look it up. I can tell you. And Howard, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Like, nobody makes a play for their quarterback.
Yeah.
You have to make a play for your quarterback. You have to jump back, do something.
Make a play for yourself.
Like, even the play on with the interception.
Yeah.
I get it. But if that's a defensive pass interference, we accept that penalty down the field. Like Slayton just looked and he jumped up. I'll forget about it. Like, not playing the play. Like, the play's not over. Go up there and make him jump into you.
Yep.
Like, do something. And to me, I listen. I can be an optimist if you want to call me, but there's something about this team that I just feel is going to get on the road and win a lot of games that nobody expects.
Yep.
And I just feel that. I just feel this team's going to get on the road.
Yep.
It may start with Seattle, but I just know that, like John, you pointed out, it's a different 1-3 team. You see the improvement, offensively especially. You see the improvement. You see the improvement in the line. You see the improvement in Daniel Jones' play. I just think things are going to start falling into place, and this team's going to be a tough team to beat. And it's always a pleasure talking to you guys, man. Thank you so much.
Good call. Appreciate it, Ralph. Good to hear from you, man.
So John, like there are teams like Mahomes will get it. Everybody, Allen gets it. Their receivers are going down the field. He throws the ball almost at the back of the DB. And is there? Some people call it. They say, "Oh, it's a back shoulder throw." The back shoulder throw is thrown to the outside and behind him.
Yeah, to the sideline.
And when he throw it at the back of the DB, and the guy sees the ball coming, he just jumps and reaches for the ball, and the DB's got his hands up and he's trying to look back, but he's running over the guy. It's always pass interference. It's not kind of pass interference. It's always pass interference. The DB, he doesn't panic. He can't stop instantly.
Yeah, and look, I thought the one play where maybe in the game against Dallas, that deep pass down the right sideline to Slayton that kind of hit him in the knee on the way to the ground. Like, if he picks that ball up better, slows down a little bit, and jumps for that ball, and the guy can run into him, then all of a sudden you're drawing a DPI.
Yep, there it is. You're down deep in the red zone.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm going to see if I can. I'm very curious now as to whether or not they actually have drawn a DPI penalty. I will look that up as we go to our next call.
So.
I don't remember one either, which is why I want to look it up. Let's go to Kevin in Delray Beach. He's up next. Hi, Kevin.
What's up, Kevin?
Hey, guys. How are you?
We're good.
Real quick, two things. I thought that Brian Dable's play calling, one, I think he's taking too long to make adjustments. And one of the things that I don't think he's recognizing is Lawrence for Dallas got injured his foot. They were second and goal, and he got taken out of the game. And the Giants went right to a running play. They had one pass rusher, Micah Parsons, in the game. Why wouldn't you throw the football on that down instead of trying to run it?
Well, DeMarcus Lawrence is also, and Kevin, in all fairness, DeMarcus Lawrence is also one of their best run defenders, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yes, I agree. I agree with that. That's true. He's very well-rounded. But I just think that's an opportunity where the Giants' offensive line is struggling. And they're built for pass blocking, not run blocking per se. So I think you got to go with the strength. And I think the other thing he does is, like, he'll say, we're going to run the football today because statistics show we have to run against them. Well, it wasn't working, so switch it. a lot of good teams pass the ball to open up the rushing game. We're sort of saying, we're running, that's all we're doing, and we're going to go with it. And you had, I forget which lineman, one of them had admitted that they were blocking the wrong people. Mm-hmm. To me, that's coaching.
Well, I mean, look, Kevin, they're coaching them up to block the right people, and that's the players executing it incorrectly on the field.
Yeah, and like I said, Dallas was bringing 8 guys up close to the line of scrimmage because they knew that we weren't going to stop trying to run the ball against them.
Right. So that's my point. Make the adjustment and start throwing the football a little earlier. He's waiting until the second half to make adjustments.
We threw the ball 41 times. but we threw the ball 41 times. If he throws it more than that, then yeah. But listen, I get it.
Appreciate the call, Kevin. Your phone line's a little crackly there, pal. Sorry
about that. So when it comes down to play calling, and I'm not any genius in play calling at all. I can just say this. In the game we had, the idea was to try to go after him with the run because we had seen how poorly they had, taken and played against the run with everyone. In this game, they slid 8 guys down, almost 9 guys in some cases. I'm like, okay, you're going to have to throw it at 2 if you're going to have a chance. Then you get the crazy play down the field, the big 50-yard catch for them. Now all of a sudden, it's not as easy to keep running the ball. You have to make a big change really quickly to throw the ball. So it's just the flow of the game and what's happening. I don't think it was a poorly called game. I think we had some poor execution from time to time.
I mean, Brian Daboll created 3 or 4 plays where guys were wide open running deep down the field. And they were wide open.
I like the one to Malik Neighbors. Somebody goes, he was running wide open. Why didn't he just lead him? I'm like, they had been leading him the entire game, and it's been an overthrow.
Correct. It's funny, Howard. I said the same thing.
It's the hardest thing to do to
That's
throw.
one of those, I'm making sure this is completed. Even if it's underthrown, I'm making sure it's completed.
And to me, also, I tell people this. When somebody's that wide open, they should be there.
They might not what?
They may not have supposed to be there.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then all of a sudden you see him and you're like, hey, how deep is he?
And sometimes, too, when somebody's that wide open, Howard, and you can speak to this, too, the receiver, because he has so much separation, isn't running top speed either. Like he'll start gliding a little bit because he's trying to make sure he catches the ball too. So you don't want to lead him too much.
Yeah, the first thing Neighbors did after he got open is he kind of turned around and put his hand
Put his arm up, right? Yep.
Right, but he turned around to face him. I'm like,
correct.
Okay.
He wasn't sprinting down the field anymore.
Nope.
Correct.
So now you're gotta try to figure out how to get it on him from that distance.
All right. So good job out of Dom. I found it too. Shaquille Griffin committed a defensive pass interference penalty against the Giants in the second quarter of Week 1 for a whopping 6 yards. So that was a 6-yard gain. And then in Week 2 against Washington, Noah Idbig, I can't say this name. Idbignagane committed a defensive pass interference penalty for a whopping 9 yards. That gave the Giants a first down. So they have drawn 2. But my guessing, they were probably going through the back of the receiver on a stop route or something like that to get after the football.
It was at 6 yards and 9 yards, there's probably a holes and stuff for when the ball's coming right to them and they're pulling them down. Got the hook around the arm.
Or slant, maybe. They were pulling them down on a slant, maybe, something like that.
The 9 yard is probably the same thing, hooking them around the waist.
Yeah, but nothing down the field. So our memories were correct that there hasn't been a big defensive pass interference penalty that's given them a chunk play. So, and nothing the last 2 weeks. Not one defensive pass interference penalty drawn the last 2 weeks. So that's something you got to get better at. And look, you saw what the Seahawks did to the Lions secondary last night, where the Lions play a ton of man-to-man defense. They, including your boy Roll Tide Terry and Arnold, they were grabbing and pulling and hugging. And then the best part, I think it was Arnold. There's the one play. He gets called for defensive pass interference. He's going, well, what do you mean it's pass interference? Then they call the replay. He puts his arm around Jake Bobo and literally tackles him to the ground. And he's like, I don't understand. How can you call me for DPI? Dude, you tackled the guy after you wrapped his shoulders up. Like, I don't understand what you're complaining about.
Man, these guys, when I see these guys that are quick and making turns and stuff, like, man, I gotta do something.
No, and that's fine. You want to commit the penalty, but then don't be like, I didn't do nothing. This one. And Howard, you know what that's like? Is when you block on the offensive line, the best part after you do the hold, and then you do this one.
Yeah.
I
don't remember too many of them personally, but I've seen guys do that.
That is the biggest tell on the planet. If you're an offensive lineman and all of a sudden you do this, you know what that means? That means you were just holding.
Yep.
That's what that means.
You also see it from guys from DBs. You see it from DBs, and they let go. But now they're always like, "Ha, I got him. You can't do it." I'm like, man. You're passing it.
Oh, how many times do you see the DB get off the ground doing his incomplete? He's pumping his fist. He's like, yeah. And then the flag comes in, and you just see him stop and do the shoulder slump, and
He should just do the cobra. Like, oh, I love the cobra. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah. Look, Aaron Glenn was from your era. You played against Aaron Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
He was a physical, bump and run. You're a smaller guy, but feisty corner, and that's how he's trying to coach his guys up to play in Detroit. And they were interfering. I think there was probably 6 or 7. I'm going to look that up. I think there were 6 or 7 defensive penalties called last night.
They were trying to fight it out, but that's part of like knowing the refs and knowing which crew you have, and you know what they're going to let you get away with and what you're not going to get away with. Some crews let you have that fist fight a little bit out there when you're playing receiver and DB. And some crews, like, if you brush by him, his jersey, kind of ruffles. You did something.
So let's see. We had Carlton Davis with the DPI, Carlton Davis with the defensive holding, Carlton Davis with the DPI, Terry and Arnold with the defensive holding, Carlton Davis with the DPI, and those were the ones down the field. So that is, in terms of pass defense, you're looking at 6.
That's crazy.
Downfield, maybe 5 downfield penalties. So I think there might have been one on a completion that got declined too.
Yeah, they took it away. He caught it anyway. It was that was a crazy game.
Yeah, it was a fun game. Really, really high octane. Great. And thank goodness we had that second game because, dude, I got to be honest with you. No one watches more football than me. I did not watch a second of that Titans Dolphins game. I did not watch a second of it.
How could you?
I did not watch a second of that game. Guys, Giants TV is the connected TV streaming app. It brings original video content, game highlights on demand, and direct to Big Blue fans. It's free on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and the Giants mobile app. And if you want Giants tickets, they're still available. Go to giants.com/tickets, season tickets. I'm sure they'll let you jump in halfway through, and you can buy single game tickets, whatever. Limited inventory is available. It's giants.com/tickets. You get great membership benefits. You can stay connected to the club all year round. A lot of great stuff. Go become a Giants season ticket holder. Jose in Florida is up next. Hey, Jose.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Very good.
It's just funny to me how when the team is winning, nobody's nitpicking, nobody's looking for anything that the players did wrong. But when we're losing, everybody's just trying to picnic on every little single thing.
That's how it goes.
When it comes down to it, this is the NFL. All these guys are professionals, and they should know exactly what to do. On the defense, they just need to do better tackling. I feel like they're going to get better as the year goes on. As of right now, only really Drew Phillips has been stepping up and tackling guys the way you're supposed to. And on the offensive receivers, they just need to catch the ball. Daniel Jones is doing a great job throwing the ball around to different receivers, and they're basically failing him, and they're the ones that are making him look bad. In 2007 we had Flexible Burris, Amani Tuma, and Steve Smith, 3 dependable receivers. In 2011 with Hakeem Nicks, Mario Manningham, and Victor Cruz, which were all dependable and which were all catching the balls and at any point could take the ball into the end zone. So I just feel like overall, the team just needs to step up a little bit more and play better. And that's about it. I'll take it off the air.
Thank you, Jose. Appreciate it.
I think, they had a bad game. So a couple guys had a bad game. But in saying they had a bad game, they really had a lot of great catches and a lot of great plays. It's just like when you get late in the game, you really need to continue that pace you're doing. You can't let one get away from you, because when you do, you never know which one it is going to hurt you. We used to say all the time that it's about 4 or 5 plays in every game to make a decision. Even in a blowout, 4 or 5 plays are the ones that decided how it was going to go. And the 4 plays we had this time were 4 drops, and the safety misreading or overshooting the receiver for the 50-yard catch and run. So I think those are plays that can make a big difference in the game.
Howard, the Giants, I'm going to take the Hail Mary drive away at the end, right? The Giants had 4 drives in the second half, all right? The first one was the 77-yard drive. We already talked about the play on 3rd down. It turned into a field goal at the 4th and 3. The second drive was a 3-and-out. That was not a good drive. Next drive, they had the good punt return. They go 38 yards on 10 plays, and that's the play. That's the drive. We're on a 3rd and 14. Daniel Jones hits Darius Slayton right in the gut
basket
on a perfect throw on a deep out where there wasn't a lot of space. And Darius said after the game, "Look, that's a ball I got to catch."
Yep.
And that would have been a first down on a 3rd and 14 at the 10-yard line. That's first and goal. The fourth drive of the second half, that's the drive where Wanda Robinson can't come up with a slant on 3rd down that hits him right in the gut.
Chest. Yep.
To quote Howard, if it was a spear,
he'd be dead.
Correct.
Be a homicide.
And then the play after that, Neighbors can't come up with the play on the side. That would have been a really nice catch, but it still, hit him right in the midsection.
Hit him right in the hand.
And I'm sure Malik would say it's a ball that he expects to catch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So those are the 2 drives at the end of the game where you only get 3 points out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if your guys come up with some plays for your quarterback, and again, the 3 field goal drives in the first half, those might be touchdowns if Daniel doesn't underthrow some of those deep balls. No question, we're not arguing that.
And again, underthrow is one way of looking at it, and if you jump back for the ball, pass interference. I'm just saying, it goes both ways. He's not at fault, or he's not free of fault either.
But this is not. I think the caller brings up a good point. I think unlike last year when we're just looking at, frankly, in some games, just complete domination, and we could not see a way. For Daniel Jones, when the Giants played the Seahawks last year, got sacked 10 times.
Yeah,
and that was most of those sacks came in the fourth quarter of that game. I think 6 of them did, because in the first 3 quarters they were basically just running wide receiver screens and getting the ball out of his hands in about 1.5 seconds because they knew they couldn't protect. So that's not what we're looking at here. It is more to Jose's point. I think little points of execution here or there that's not turning these losses into wins.
Details. Right. Just gotta keep on every detail.
Let's go to Vinny in Florida. He's up next. Hey, Vin.
Hey, Vinny.
How you doing?
We're good.
Very good.
Hey, since Howard's on, before I start about my comments on the Giants, I wanted to say, did you see that Bama Georgia game?
Of course I did.
I think it was the most exciting game I've ever seen. And I'm close to 60 years old, and I cannot remember a game that was more exciting than that.
I wish it wasn't that exciting. I would like for it to continue to be a blowout.
I was saying, at halftime, I was joking on draft season, which will pop up later today. At halftime, I'm like, ooh, maybe I can actually get some sleep tonight. And then I decided to stick it out. I'm like, nope, no sleep.
No.
I got to go to the end.
And Georgia takes the lead, and it's one play, and they score a touchdown. I mean, I was like, oh, wow.
That kid is 17 years old.
Yeah, between him and the freshman wide receiver on Ohio State, those 2 kids, when they come out in 3 years, oh boy, they're going to be good.
My sister's, her son, my nephew goes to that school, so now she's a big fan. And I was saying, normally parents of kids like that are going to hold their kid back a year just so they can be more physically mature when they hit. If that kid can play at 17 years old, my goodness, he's going to be a 20-year-old rookie in the NBA, in the NFL.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, that's crazy. So let me make some points. I am feeling much better about the Giants than I have in years. And I liked when I saw an interview with Runyon. He used the words, "We are good. We are good." And the confidence that those guys have in that, I don't think the offensive line said we were good last year at any point. No. Anyone said that. And he's got the confidence. I just think the veteran line is good for us. Now, I wanted to make a comment about that Hail Mary to Jalen Hyatt. If he wants to play more football, he's got to go get that ball. His hands were up waiting for that ball to come, and it never reached him because the player on the defensive side took it away. Malik Neighbors goes after a ball like that. That's the difference between good and great. And if he wants to play, he's got to go get balls like that. That ball was up there where he could have taken it from the defender. So that's my first comment, and you guys can comment after. My second thing is, I like the way Dable's calling games offensively, but I really struggle with 5 field goals in a game. At some point, this is Dallas. We're expecting them to score touchdowns. At some point, I think he's got to go back to his first game. What was it, the Ravens or the Titans were playing? In the first game of his career as a head coach, he went to win versus to tie the game. And I think he's lost that because of kind of, the media's killing him and stuff. But I'd like to see him have confidence in this team to say, hey, I'm going for it. And then the next thing I wanted to say was the defense needs turnovers. I think they need to be a bit more aggressive. They need to go with a punch. They need to have more turnovers. It's just we're not helping the offense in any form this year. Even if we play good defense, we need to turn the ball over and get field position. And lastly, I wanted to say, I think we're going to beat the Seahawks. I really have that feeling. The other day I said that too. I have a feeling that they're going to really give their A game at some point. I love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate the call, man. Hey, Howard, why don't you reply to that? I'm going to see if I can figure out what's going on with these fuzzy phones, all right?
The fuzzy phones.
Yeah.
All right, so first he was talking about Hyatt going up and getting the ball and needing more playing time. Hyatt's going to go back and look at that, and he's going to say, like, hey, man, I could have gotten up there and gotten that ball and, went up there and competed a little heavier on that. And he's right. That's just part of it. The second he talked about Dayball and a play calling and should Dayball be more aggressive, I'm like, when you're talking about more aggressive, and in the same breath you're saying how some guys have to go up and get it. We were just talking for the whole show about how we've had some drops here and there. And this is going to be really part of it. You're not going to make every play. I think he's calling the plays well, but we got to execute on those plays well as well. And the guys all know it. That you got to go up and make a play. Your quarterback's playing better. Your line's playing better. The receivers got to be all in tune. And I'm waiting for the tight ends to start getting in the mix myself. I'm really like hoping and foaming at the mouth to get those tight ends involved in that. And I'm somehow, some way, I think that's going to be happening probably in the next few weeks. He also said about the defense and takeaways. Now, takeaways are luck, I believe. I think that sometimes you just got to be in the right place at the right time. The ball's got to be batted up, or you just got to be, or the quarterback's got to be under so much pressure. Sometimes he just gives it up. We played some pretty, believe it or not, some pretty good quarterbacks that played well. Jalen Daniels turned out to be the superstar that everyone thought he would be as the Heisman winner coming out of LSU. You had Dak Prescott. If you're not hitting him and knocking him around, he's going to be good. Sam Darnold, who everybody's been talking about, like, he might be the leader in the clubhouse right now for MVP, which is really weird to say out loud. And then on top of it, I think lastly, he was saying he thinks we're going to beat Seattle. Well, we think we're going to beat everybody, but you just got to wait and see when the games get played.
Yeah, absolutely.
I covered it all.
Yeah, that was very good, Howard. And I did do something, unfortunately, that made us lose all of our callers. So, guys, if you're on, I'll make sure we get you back up here before the show's over. Let's go to Chris in North Carolina. He's up next. Chris, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, how you doing, John and Howard?
Very good.
We're good, Chris. How are you?
Doing well. How's everything going?
We're doing all right.
Okay, listen, your phones are kind of crunchy, but I have a point to make. And so my first point, and it's kind of important, I think, and I think it's really getting missed. And here's the thing I have to talk about.
Okay.
My point is, I don't understand why in the NFL these crews that are doing these NFL games, I mean, they are part of a group, because I am part of a group. I'm a fast pitch softball official in the state of North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to work together as a team, okay? And sure, there's a lot of plays, and there's a lot of things that get missed, holding, like with me, obstruction, interference, all these different kind of things. But I really think that call that ref made in that game with the Giants and the Cowboys, where that player was pulling the face mask, that's a real bad look by the NFL, because you got two different colored teams. You got white and blue out there in that field. And you have a command center, and I understand that's not a reviewable play, but I mean, that's just...
Well, Chris, the problem is that on the initial call, the guy who made the call did point the Cowboys' way, indicating it was on Dallas. So I don't know how that got lost in translation when it got back to the referee to make the announcement, but it seemed to be that's what happened. And look, it's not good. It's bad. It's not good.
It's just also, I think early in the game they had a play where both officials threw the flag against Dallas and walked over and they're like, What did you get? And they picked the flags up.
Now, Dable said after the game they told him they had the flag thrown for illegal man downfield, and the replay guy said he wasn't downfield, which was true on the thing. But the problem is that there was also an offensive holding call on the sideline with the guy holding the back of Flott's jersey that was not called.
So you're right. But like I tell everybody, if we're in a game where it seems like the calls are going against us, on the other side, they're like, well, that wasn't too great of a game by the officials. And if we're in a game where the calls seem to be going for you, then the other team is like, oh, I can't believe they're missing all these calls. So I don't think I don't want to be an official. I think it's a thankless job, and it's tough because running full speed down the field, trying to see guys with their feet in, the ball caught, and what you're all looking at, and trying to be there at the same time. And you can call holding basically on every play. So I don't know how they're going to get through at it. It's a thankless job.
And so here's my question to you, Howard Cross.
Mm-hmm.
With an experienced tight end. Now, back when Eli Manning played, he had Kevin Boss. He wasn't a fast tight end, but he really always had an availability to get open. So I feel like the Giants are missing that. They have the receivers on the outside, but their teams, they're not able to hit anything with tight ends. And I feel like the Giants need an experienced tight end to teach the other tight ends to be better on the field. What's your take on that?
I think they're doing pretty well on the field. I just think.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate the call.
I think that what's really happening, and I don't think people realize this, that Malik Neighbors is such a talent that he's open. He's open a lot, and it's like you want to get other guys into the play, but if you're turning, and you see the secondary rotating that way, and he's still getting open, like other guys are going to have to continuously work to really try to make sure they're wide open, so the quarterback's looking for them and at them the entire time. That's the only way to get the ball. Sometimes you got such a stud receiver. It's just like you got to be so open that like, hey, I saw you over there. I'll be back to you. We're going to run that again, and that's the only way to do it. But the problem is when you do it the second time, somebody say, okay, we can't. Hey, I know you're watching Malik, but that dude was wide open. Don't do that again. So that's the problem. So you have to kind of get it in and get it in when you can.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing some rookie inexperience thing from Theo Johnson coming up here or there too. Like in week 3, that could have been an interception from Daniel Jones on that one route to the left where he did not run the out. Daniel Jones threw the out, and it got brought back because of, I think it was a roughing the passer penalty in week 3 against Cleveland. Last week, Theo Johnson was moving at the snap on the illegal shift on the fake screen to Neighbors, deep pass to Tracy. So, look, tight end is one of the toughest positions in football to be really good as a rookie because you got to learn the pass game, you got to learn pass protection, you got to learn the run game, you got to learn everything to play tight end. So for a rookie, it's very tough. Calm down over here. But I see that look on your face. But so I think we have to give Theo Johnson some time before his production matches his skill set.
Theo, I don't mean to be mean to you or anything. Just study your plays. Get your stuff together. It ain't that hard. John's giving you too much rope there.
I always say tight ends, it's very tough as a rookie to do everything.
It is not any tougher than anywhere else. You learn the plays. You study. It's your job. You're getting paid to do it. Pay attention. If you can't pay attention and get your plays together and know your stuff, then that's on you. That is nothing on anything else. If you got the great enough ability to be in the league, study. And I'm not saying that Theo's not studying, so don't take that any kind of wrong way, but you can't sit here and say that it's harder on some guys. Quarterbacks maybe it's hard on. Quarterbacks because they got to read the defense, they got to do all this stuff when the play's happening. They got to know, okay, this guy, I got 3 reads. I'm going to have to start over here because this is shifting. The tight end gets up, he's on the end of the line or he's in the backfield, and he knows exactly where he's going. He doesn't have to worry about anybody else. He knows exactly where he's going. That's it.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to Henry in North Carolina. He's up next. Hi, Henry.
Yeah, thank you so very much for accepting my call.
No problem.
I'm a long-time Giant fan. I called in before, but it's been many years ago. I'm going to be brief. I'm not going to stay on the line long. Here's my thought, and maybe you guys have got the answer to this. Think back to when Daniel Jones was a rookie, and his coach, his head coach, was the offensive coordinator at that time.
Yeah, Pat Shermer. Yep, Pat Shermer.
Okay. Jones had about 30 touchdown passes that year, as I recall. Some higher number, a number that far exceeded anything he has had since then. Of course, now the issue then was the fact that he had a lot of turnovers. he needed to cut down on turnovers. But why, since then, has he not been in that area of being able to get a touchdown pass?
Good question. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate the call, man. Look, I think that first year the totals were inflated a little bit. He had, I think, 13 touchdowns in 3 games that year. He had a 5-touchdown game, a 4-touchdown game, and a 3-touchdown game against 3 of the worst defenses in the league that year. So I think that did kind of probably inflate that first year touchdown total. And since then, quite frankly, Henry, the supporting cast around him has not been very good. I mean, he has not had a true number 1 wide receiver. The offensive line hasn't been great. He ran the ball in for a lot of touchdowns 2 years ago instead of throwing it in 2022 in his big year. And this year, they've had opportunities in the red zone. They have not been good enough, and he's missed opportunities on deep balls that could have turned into touchdowns, and he's missed those throws. So has there been enough touchdown passes? No, there have not been, but I do think there have been legitimate reasons for that.
Well, I'll give you that. I think there's some. I know everybody keeps talking about the deep ball thing. I think, like I said, the first 2 or 3 times he was probably throwing it to 40 yards, and guys just weren't there yet. He threw it to them over and over again. Now he's starting to throw it at their back a little bit, trying to create another kind of way to get a positive play down the field. I don't think people realize that if you throw the ball deep and the receiver's never underneath the ball, you start to get a little discouraged from doing it that way, and you start trying to figure out how to put the ball more on them, which also puts the ball in greater risk. When you're leading the guy and you're expecting the guy, okay, he has separation. I'm gonna drop it out there and they're gonna run under it. And they don't. It just gets a little, it's a little uncomfortable, I should say, when you're doing that. As far as getting the ball in the end zone and scoring touchdowns, the biggest reason why I think in the last 2 games, he starts out, he gets down there, and then there's an instance of a penalty or a negative play that pulls him back. And if you're playing, it's okay to be in, 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line or 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line, but you can't be 1st and 15 all of a sudden from the 20-yard line, and then 1st and 20. When you were at the 20-yard line, now you're at the 30-yard line. Everybody's got to do their job when they get down there and make sure, as we used to say, heighten all your senses, because everything you do when you get down to the red area is cash. You're trying to make as much money as possible when you get down there. If somebody makes a mistake, you're taking money out of everybody's pocket basically in that situation. Like I said earlier, and I probably opened the door on the tight ends. I'm sorry, guys, that I'd like to see a little more production out of tight ends, or see some production out of tight ends, and then we're getting the beat down of Theo, and we're getting the beat down of something else. And I just think I said, if you're going to be playing out here in the NFL, you have to be available and be ready to go the entire time. I hate to use the term, but they're shooting live bullets out here. You got to be ready to go, and you can't. This is not a exhibition game or whatever. And I think that a lot is lost. And I'm not a get off. It sounds like a get off my yard guy, but it's a lot is lost with the ability to practice the way they used to practice. A lot is lost with the ability to play in some of these preseason games and really get your feet up under you, so you can actually see what it's like at game speed. Because practice speed is fast, preseason games fast, real games super fast, playoffs extremely fast. And Super Bowl, oh my God, like everything is like so much heightened, it just keeps leveling up. And if you're not really, it takes a minute or two to understand what that game speed feels like if you're not really doing it on a day-to-day basis. Like I said, I came from Alabama. I practiced against Derek Thomas and Cornelius Bennett every day, and it was like, holy smokes, it can't get any worse than this. I show up to the Giants, I get LT and Banks. so I was pretty much, hey, I'm good. If I'd see another team, like, man, you guys are in trouble. Like, what's wrong with this guy? I'm like, do you see the guy on the other side? Practice against him every day. So it was like, they were just different. Like, and we were in full pads.
I have 2 questions for you. One, I will say this: when I watched Theo Johnson at Penn State, that's why I had a lower grade on him. I did not think his game speed on the field at Penn State matched what his time speed was. Sometimes the guy looks like he plays fast or he doesn't. But then in the summer here, watching him run around the practice field, I thought he did match athletically. So, but that's on the practice field; it's different. So I'm curious to see as he gets more experience, and as guys
get a handle.
It does help their play speed, right?
Yeah,
for sure, 100%. So let's see as he gets more experience how that works. Second question I have for you, and this is something that I talked about on yesterday's show with one of our callers, Donnie from Queens. I thought it was a good conversation. And we kind of talked about how the league this year is becoming almost more of a defensive league. There's less scoring, though you would be fooled by last night and the Lions Seahawks game on that statement. But teams are playing a lot more two safeties deep, right? They're playing smaller, faster linebackers, things like that. And I feel like in your day, Howard, if teams tried to play that type of defense then, like they're doing now, you would just load up Howard Cross, another tight end, and you would just run the ball down their throats. And I wonder if, look, some teams have been able to do that. Look at the Ravens with Derrick Henry. They've done that the last 2 weeks. But the teams that haven't been able to, I wonder if it goes back to your point about not having as many practices and full pads where you're able to be physical on the offensive and work on your line play, if that makes it a little bit more difficult to have these dominant run games because you're not able to work on that as much in practice.
I think that the passing, basically for every team, the defense has to lead when they first start out. And I think that goes across the league because defenses are complex. You're trying to install your entire offense in. You're basically getting your entire offense installed, and then the next week you're playing a game. You're not really showing anything during preseason. So when you get that week between preseason and the first game, or 2 weeks now, that's when you're trying to install and look at the team that you're going to play and hope that you're not playing against a new coach with a new system or whatever. That's what you're hoping for when you come out. That's one reason the defenses are ahead of the offenses, because you can run anything you want to offensively, and I can send a blitz, and you just may not be able to pick it up because the guys aren't ready for it. That's one. I think the defensive, the twists and stunts, you test it just to see if they're ready for it. That's number two. And the third and the most important thing, you hadn't really been getting hit. So the guys are determining, you could run by a receiver's time and clap your hands and they'll stop because they're not used to the whole. The game's moving fast, but can you get hit? Or is everything going to be okay? And the same thing goes with that's why you see guys running the ball so well and the offensive lines look so good early on, because they're not used to tackling. So when you come across the line and I have an angle on you, am I putting my head across? What am I doing? And I can't do the hip drop, or is that a hip drop? You got a lot of things going on in your head instead of let me just run full speed into them and try to figure it out as I get there. And it just takes time because, again, Carl to tell you that you watched him practice every day. He was physical every day. He had on his pads every day, and it just looked like a different kind of thing. Then you go out to play, you're doing it. It takes time to get kind of in game mode. You'll see better games starting this week. Like you saw the offensive air show last night. You're going to see more and more offensive games these next few weeks because now guys are used to it. Now guys are ready for it. You're going to see better tackling these next few weeks because guys are kind of in the mode now, and teams will have to run better schemes and learn to do better things. But you're going to see better play because it's kind of like the preseason just ended.
I'm curious this week. The bye weeks begin.
Yep.
This week in the National Football League. So just real quick before we say goodbye, Thursday night, a good NFC South game, Bucks and Falcons. One team 3-1, one team 2-2. Bucks have been playing well. The Falcons, they should have beat the Eagles a couple weeks ago, but they couldn't. So they should be 3-1, but they haven't been able to get the job done. First game in London this week. You got Vikings and Jets. So that'll be a game on Sunday morning in that 9:30 a.m. window. That'll be fun to watch. Any other games of note here? Bengals and Ravens. Bengals 1-3. They really cannot afford to go to 1-4. Texans Bills. Both teams 3-1. That should be a fun game.
That's going to be a barn burner.
Let's see. What are the games we got here? It's not a great week of games, to be totally honest with you. Niners, Cardinals, I guess. Packers, Rams, 4 o'clock. The problem is that the Rams have a million injuries, so that game's lost a little bit of its luster in that game. And then what could be the highest-rated game in the league this year, Cowboys-Steelers Sunday night. 2 huge national fan bases.
Yep.
We'll see if that's better. I believe the Cowboys-Giants game on that Thursday night was the highest-rated game so far this year, if I'm not mistaken. Even though it was on Amazon, I think it was the highest-rated game. It was Giants-Cowboys. I could be wrong. It could have been the home opener. But and then you got Chiefs-Saints on Monday night. Now, curious to see what the Chiefs do here, Howard. Do they have to go try to find a wide receiver now?
Yes.
I think they do, too. I'm with you.
And they always do. It's not like they haven't done it before. They do it every year. They got Tony one year from us. They have another year. I forget the other guy's name. They've got one almost every year because somebody goes down.
Yeah, they lost Hollywood Brown. Now they've lost. They haven't confirmed ACL yet for Rice after all the tests, but that certainly did not look.
Patrick took him out, man.
I think, Howard, I was trying to remember, and you've been watching, you're older than I have, you've been watching this longer than me. I have never, ever seen a quarterback injure his own wide receiver.
Take him out, man. Pat, what's happening? As if he weren't having enough problems already.
I mean, Pat, good for you trying to make a tackle on an interception and all that, but this is why they usually tell the kickers and the quarterbacks,
get off the field.
Just get out the way, guys. Just get out the way. No. Let the other guys make the tackles.
Yep.
More important to keep you guys healthy than for you to try to go out there and make a tackle.
Yeah,
so.
that drop in the shoulder when your shoulder's worth $500 million.
And I think that was his right shoulder he dropped too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably don't want to do that.
$500 million.
Not worth the tackle, guys.
No.
Graham Goodall, not worth the hamstring. Not worth the hamstring.
I said to him, like, if they run it out, just jog out the field. He goes, yeah, right. Then he looks at me, he goes, you're right.
Howard, this was fun, man. Appreciate it. For Howard Cross, I'm John Schmeelk. Thanks to Dom. Pearson, get better. He's homesick. He's dealing with a little sore throat. I think he's struggling right now. But he did edit draft season this morning, so that'll be going up, and then hopefully he'll be back next couple of days as Dom steps in for him. So we can blame Dom for the bad phone lines today. Thanks for being with us on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Tomorrow, assuming Madeline's going to be back, she'll be here with Sean O'Hara tomorrow. Make sure you tune in at 12:30. We'll talk to you then.
It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a running back delivered, but you can get baby back ribs delivered. A strong defense? That's a no. But strong deodorant? That's a yes. A six-pack of abs? Definitely no. But a six-pack of beer? Uber Eats can get you that. There you have it. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
You go into your shower feeling, but as soon as you reach for the Irish Spring, your day immediately gets better. That crisp, fresh, unmistakable Irish Spring scent zings your brain and awakens your senses. So when you finally emerge from the shower, 37 minutes later, because you pay the water bill so you can stay in there as long as you want, you're ready to take on the day and smell great doing it. Irish Spring Body Wash and Bar Soap. Fresh, green, Irish. Shop now at Walmart.